The only feature we didn't have on there was, from the boy himself.
Yeah, and I think that's honestly, I would not be surprised if that's like a surprise thing that ends up
It's not
coming
coming.
out.
No, it's not.
Yo, listen, man.
No, it's not.
Hey, listen, man. You never know the antics that go on in media and entertainment. At the end of the day, like I agree with you. I think it's very plausible that it's not going to happen. But
I don't think it's coming out.
it would be a dream.
I think they might be working together behind the scenes somewhat. You know what I mean? There's definitely some talk in between camps, obviously.
Clearly.
But I mean, do I think that we have to wait from a feature from, y'all's man? I don't think so.
Yeah.
What do you mean, y'all's man? Who?
Because y'all always say I'm a hater. That's why.
So why I gotta be our man? Why?
Because y'all say I'm a hater. That's why. So it's y'all's guy.
Let the listeners know who you're talking about.
So, listeners,
God himself.
If you didn't know, Drake has seemingly announced that he'll be releasing Certified Lover Boy next Friday, supposedly the day that Donda was supposed to come out. But now we are here, and it seems like Drake is finally about to release his album of 2021.
Yeah, listen. So let me just say this first, right? Personally, I think this was a lot. I think this was something that Drake did or one of his fans did, similar to what we saw with his fans vandalizing Donda's actual home in Chicago. Well, they didn't vandalize, but they did a little cheesy notes.
Here's real quick before you finish your thought. So ESPN worked with the fans in order to do this.
No.
They had to work with Drake.
Yeah,
you would think.
Yo, listen, the boy has a lot of pull.
So go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead and finish your thought.
So I think the boy has a lot of pull, and I think this was just a way of baiting out Kanye, because I think the growing. Hold on.
Just start your point over.
Yeah, cut that.
Damn.
Go ahead. Get that shit all out, bro. Get it out.
Start your point over, yeah.
What the fuck?
Please start it over. I don't want to edit that shit. Oh my God.
Oh man, I wish we could put this shit in. This is the funniest shit, actually. But what I'll say is this: I think the boy has pull at the end of the day, right? He has pull with ESPN, and I think he did this to bait Kanye out. Kanye, we know the growing sentiment has always been from Kanye since this whole thing has started, right? Ever since Kanye said he was going to release this album twice and it didn't come out, and we knew CLB has been a long-awaited album since like October of last year.
Yes.
I think he realized Drake said, you know what? Kanye wants to be sitting here. He wants to release the same day I do, whatever, especially knowing what we've seen on Instagram. We only can take this from a social media standpoint. That's the only information we have, right? So it only means what it weighs at this point. I think Kanye probably said, you know what? I'm even like the cartoon, where the cartoon's like, yo, Drake, just tell me when you're going to drop and I'll drop my album. Well, how about you tell me when you're going to drop? Huh? What? I got to go. Like, literally what we've seen there, I think has been just brewing in the shadows. And Drake said, you know what? Let me drop this ad. He hasn't done any rollout for this album like in the past week or two, right? Like, granted, the CLB thing has been like a big buildup. But at the same time, Drake hasn't said anything about this since the ESPN thing, which was like earlier last week.
So let me tell you why I think what you're saying could be plausible, but why I just don't agree with you. Because in order for, let's say, Drake or a random fan or whatever had this done on the beginning of Sports Center, Disney's not letting that shit happen without some amount of money. They're not. They're not. So somebody paid money to put that sign up there. Drake, an entity, whoever it was, they paid money for that shit. That album's coming out.
It's not coming out on the 3rd, bro.
I think I agree with Nigel. I think when you start getting major corporations involved with your campaigning of the album, like you're not hacking ESPN networks that's owned by Disney, which is a major corporation in the world, just to not put out an album. And I feel like that would be a big waste of money and a big waste of a tease for you not to put out the album. So
Would it though for Drake?
Yes,
Drake,
for anybody.
Yes.
No, but let's be honest. Drake has literally rented out a stadium to go on a date. Drake has been on this whole thing in the past year of renting out stadiums, football stadiums, baseball stadiums for celebrations. You think you think the cost of what that would be, which I think is like roughly the hundreds of thousands or close to $1 million.
Over. Yeah. You know how much it is
he's spending that. Go ahead.
You know how much it costs to get like a 20-second Super Bowl commercial?
How much?
Millions of dollars. So like for him to be able to go on Disney owned organization of ESPN, which is the leader in worldwide sports, right? To hack it, to do something unsports related. You give a release date, CLB September 3rd, blah, blah, blah. And for you not to release the album is the biggest waste of fucking money. I just think that's a lot of, and if he doesn't drop it, let's say he doesn't drop it, because we're all not in the OVO camp. We're all just speculating and shit.
Right.
If he doesn't drop it, that's one of the biggest head scratchers for me, because I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like what was even the point?
To draw Kanye? All this for Kanye?
Bro, that's ridiculous.
I wouldn't be, but like, let's be honest though, right? Like, now we're all Drake fans, minus Nigel, right? Right. And I think as Drake fans, minus Nigel, I think we all can agree that like Drake is going to, no matter what album Drake puts out, it's going to be a good album, right? Okay. Like based off his history, based off album history, is going to be a good album. We know Kanye. Based off history, there are experimental albums, but we know based off what we saw Kanye doing with the build up for this album, we knew it was speculation. It was going to be a good album based off what I heard, based off what we saw the media talking about, the features X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
Now, if these guys can't, if Kanye's sole thing is, hey, I want to drop the same day as you, Kanye's running out stadiums himself. Luckily, I don't know how much it cost him for all of it, but I think they say he made at least $12 million between merch, tickets, and streaming numbers. You think Drake is saying like, hey, if this guy has all this anticipation for his album and he wants to drop it the same day as me spending for a 15-second ad, you can say, for an introduction for ESPN, let's say it costs him $1.5 million, right? Let's say $2 million.
All right.
You think if Kanye is willing to pay millions of dollars a day or whatever to stay at a stadium to build up this anticipation for an album that people are saying, yo, I can't wait for this Kanye album. No matter, despite people not liking the pushbacks, no matter people not liking the listening events, people are waiting for this Kanye album.
Right.
We all know Drake's coming, and Drake, let's be honest, if Drake tried to drop the same day as Kanye, I think he's still going to outperform Kanye. I do agree there, but I do think his numbers are not going to be as big because their audience overlaps. So if I say, hey, listen, I'm going to pay $1 or $2 million, whatever. This is all speculation, of course. I pay the little bit of bread. I get this guy to come out. He comes out his whole cool. Easter, we got spring's coming earlier. Got him out the way. Now I drop Friday or I drop 2 weeks later. I'm good. Everybody, the hype is over. Only person we have to worry about now is the boogeyman that's from Compton. And we'll talk about him in a bit.
In a second.
Let's not break him up because, we're going to talk about him.
We're going to talk about him.
Drake is, he's not worried about him. Come on.
All right, before we get on that, because I already know you're about to get on the man. Hold on, wait, real quick.
I didn't get to say shit about the Drake thing.
What I'll say about the Drake thing real quick is that I would agree with you, Spence, if it wasn't on ESPN. He could have achieved the same shit if he went on Twitter and just said, hey, I'm coming out on the 3rd. He could have achieved that. You know what I mean? Now,
but if he said it, but if it's based off his own word, it's a different thing versus, hey, there's a filter system at that point. If I was to tell the listeners, hey, this episode is coming out on Tuesday, right? And I told them every Tuesday they can check out this episode. But really, the best option for them to check out this episode is every Thursday when it drops at 7 a.m. If I tell them, hey, every Tuesday it's going to start coming out, right? They'll hold me to the word. But if they see an ad that says, oh, it comes out Tuesday, and then next thing you know, it's back to Thursdays, they'll be like, oh, it must have been a mishap. So there's a filtration system.
He does this for Kanye to draw him out. So the fans are expecting him to come out on the 3rd. He doesn't come out on the 3rd. Do you think like anybody cares? You know what I mean? Like, or do you think they just wait?
People are going to wait, bro. Drake has said that this CLB album was coming out in the beginning of January of this year, right? Drake has put out dates prior to now about when the CLB album was supposed to come out in the beginning of the year. He was doing this last year. And people said, yo, what's coming up? What's up with this? Yo, we're waiting. People are, don't get me wrong, people are at their heels waiting for Drake to drop his album. So, like, if the date gets pushed back, if it doesn't come out on Friday, people are going to be like, oh, okay, well, I hope this album's coming out soon. At the end of the day, granted, you're the only person I know that doesn't like Drake. So you're probably going to have a different opinion on this. But I don't think anybody's going to be like, oh, he didn't drop his album on Friday, so I'm not going to go listen to it.
Never one time have I ever said that. Lyle, what were you about to say about Drake before, Spence had, his theories?
All I was going to say is I just think that him doing the ESPN SportsCenter thing is just, it's a great way to tease the album. But I think it would be a big letdown if he does a drop on the 3rd. Not saying that nobody won't wait for,
of course,
a Drake album, but what I'm saying, it'll just be a stupid way to promote the album. And I feel like if the main goal of wasting all that money and going on ESPN, which is a big deal, just for you to bring Kanye out of his hole, is stupid. I think it's stupid. I can't support him on that now, but if he does drop this album, I'd be like, hey, it's a great way to promote his shit. I fuck with it, and which will enforce these lower tier rappers to start coming up with more creative ways to campaign for their albums, because a lot of their fucking ways to release albums is garbage. But
he's not lying though.
I mean, do you really think Booth Pack Mookie is going to be able to afford to get an ad from ESPN?
No.
Yeah.
Well, first of all,
shouts out to Booth Pack.
Yeah. DMV artist.
No, he's from your way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, snap! Shout out to him.
Shouts out to Booth Pack.
So shouts out Booth Pack, but we know Booth Pack doesn't got Drake money. So, let's be real, right? So you know who I'm talking about, Spence. It's not Booth Pack. So